based on that, and we can talk about that for quite a while.
Yeah. So there was no plan for this to be like a cliffhanger ending then that picked up in a later film. Was it designed? Or
No, it was.
There?
That it is a cliffhanger.
Zack?
The movie ends in a massive cliffhanger. Yeah.
Well, you know what's going to happen after that. I mean, you know, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We definitely have questions about a part 2 coming up. But
So I thought, because we're 1 week out from the Justice League Snyder Cut, or Zack Snyder's Justice League being released, I thought we'd dive into Restore the Snyderverse. Are we getting Justice League 2 or 3? Or if you're an actual traditional fan, you would know it was the first movie's coming out called Part 1, then there's Part 2, and then there's going to be Part 3. Potentially, in theory, maybe. So, yo, what is good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on what is going on. Just what is going on here? It's been a very interesting week. Instead of saying week, I said it's been a very interesting leak. So if you're new around here, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the videos. Check us out on Instagram at Warstu to see what the face behind the voice looks like, and check us out on Twitter, WarstuG, for some firecracker tweets. So let's just address the elephant in this room. So this movie's not canon, yet Kirstie Clemons, who plays Iris West in the Flash movie, has just been confirmed to be in Andy Muschietti's The Flash movie, which is not a TIH exclusive. It's actually a Culture Nerd exclusive. They did an article about that back in June 2020. So we've all known that she was going to appear in the Flash movie for such a long time. But if you read the article, it's kind of ambiguous, and it goes, yeah, there was shooting scheduling problems. No, there wasn't. So, yeah. So let me get this straight. The Flash, Iris West, that are in the Zack Snyder movie, are now in the Flash movie, which, according to Walter Hamada, it's a freaking cul-de-sac. Yeah. Cold as Zack, but Iris West is not being recast like everyone said. The article's very bad. The article goes ahead and says Snyder fired her when Snyder had nothing to do with it. It was just Whedon and Warner Bros. So Zack's come out recently and said that his movie isn't canon, but we already knew this. But what is canon when they are going to be launching the DC Universe multiverse? The whole point of DC Fandom last year was a multiverse experience, which I'm guessing 90% of people that listen to this didn't actually listen to it. So Zack Snyder set the world on fire and the internet on fire by saying that his movie isn't DCEU canon. The Joss Whedon cut is canon. But if you've been following this channel and been following me on Twitter, you would know that I've been hashtagging Restore the Snyderverse for such a long time. So recently, Zack Snyder is doing the rounds again. So he was on DC Cinematic Cast and he had this to say. It's interesting, sort of in the DCEU or whatever it's become, that the trilogy comprising of Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Justice League sort of insults itself in some ways and becomes its own thing. I famously said that it's true, that it isn't controversial, and my Justice League is not canon, right? Canon for Warner Bros. Is the Joss Whedon, okay, he said Joss Whedon, but Joss Whedon, I said that bit, version of Justice League. In their mind, that's canon. And what I'm doing, it's not. Everything is not. Snyder continued. So it's just an interesting the relationship, and I'm fine with it, because I feel like the only way that I could have made this film with autonomy was because of that. Because for me, admitting and agreeing to that fact, it's not canon. So guys, it's not canon. Yeah, every character that he casted is in the or potentially in the Flash movie. We know that Ben Affleck's going to be in the Flash movie. We know that Ezra Miller, the Flash, is in it. We know that Kirstie Clemons is in it, as well as Iris West now. But, honeys, it's not canon. I mean, this is a strategical marketing plan. And I don't think Zack Snyder's being genuine or dishonest. I generally think it's up in the air. So our good old friend Grace Randolph did a tweet the other day, and she alluded to the fact that she's seen Justice League Snyder Cut. But to be fair, if you've seen it, you signed the embargo, the NDA, you're not even allowed to say you've seen it realistically on social media. So she's essentially saying, yeah, Justice League 2 and 3 could happen now. And I'm like, okay, I've pretty much been saying this since it was confirmed that Justice League 1, the Zack Snyder Justice League, was coming. So it's interesting that we're getting a lot of other big creators that are backtracking and actually supporting it, which is cool. That she's supporting the Snyderverse going forward. Brandon Davis from comicbook.com, he's also, like, you know, trying to get behind the Restore the Snyderverse. Maybe he's seen it, or maybe he just wants to support it. And there's a lot of big creators who are supporting it, and people in the field that could make an actual change. But what's interesting is that Warner Bros. Wants absolutely nothing to do with it. Now, it's just been confirmed yesterday in England that if you do want to watch the Zack Snyder Justice League movie, you can watch it on Sky Cinema, which is cool. If you don't have Sky Cinema, you can purchase Now TV as an add-on, which is cool. Yes, it doesn't support real 4K Ultra HD, but I mean, it's a variance of getting to see it, which is cool. So from what we know here at the channel and from people I speak in industry, as long as this movie does well, which, you know, Restore the Snyderverse has got over 20,000 people the last hour talking about it, we will be getting the Batfleck series because, you know, 8 episodes, just like Snyder said, there could be, and like they've always scanned locations. Man of Steel 2 with the Henry Cavill, mainly looking like it could be an HBO Max series, and then Justice League 1, 2, and then we get my boy Deathstroke, Joe Manganiello, recently came out and shut down some Hollywood trades. Cough, cough. I think you know who I'm on about, but we're not into that game. We're not going to call anyone out here, but someone that's always like typical a fairy unicorn person, you know, one of these people that were wrong about the whole Snyderverse and the whole, you know, Justice League, Zack Snyder's movies actually coming out, which was hilarious. So Joe Manganiello said that he was supposed to actually be in the Suicide Squad 2 movie, which is interesting. Really is interesting. So Joe said this. Then what happened was a changing of the guard at the studio. This Deathstroke project was one of the main pieces that caught up in that and chewed up by it. When the dust settled, it was not seen as a priority. So Joe Manganiello basically came out and said that, yeah, he was supposed to be going forward with a bunch of projects. And we know that Joe Manganiello came for reshoots for the Nightmare scene, for the Snyder version movie. And we also know that if you've been listening to me, that Joe Manganiello will be in the Batman series on HBO Max when it gets confirmed post Justice League coming out. So it's going to be hella interesting. It really is, to see how you guys react and how all this information comes around, and see if you come back to my videos and be like, yo, Warstu, you're getting very good at guessing, or it's almost like someone is actually telling you. But it's interesting. Now, it's interesting what Joe said, Joe Manganiello. I think there will be enthusiasm to continue Zack Snyder's story. Because if you have watched this movie, or if you haven't watched it, there's a cliffhanger. And Zack isn't joking. You're going to be screaming, I want more, give me more. You're going to be angry because what it's setting up in the cliffhanger is so mad. No, I'm not saying I've seen it. I'm not saying I'm not seeing it. I'm pleading the Fifth Amendment, but I'm from UK, so that doesn't really mean anything. But you're going to want more once you've seen this, guys. You really are going to want more. So it is interesting that Joe Manganiello is now coming out and speaking, which means more people can speak, because when the actor says something, it's pretty much factual that Deathstroke was going to have a bigger role in the DCEU. So it's not just like the Batfleck show we could be getting. Deathstroke could be getting something, but some people want more Lex Luthor, which is neither there nor there. There's so much potential for this Snyderverse going forward, and I'm not saying it's confirmed, but you know, you all know with the hashtag that when there was the hashtag released a Snyder cut, and all of a sudden now 30,000 people as I'm just recording this video. Interesting. Everyone wants it. We've got a bunch of people at combat.com. Maybe for 1 week, Chris from combat.com, maybe for 1 week more it is Restore the Snyderverse. He's just quoting the Zack Snyder admits Joss Whedon isn't canon. Maybe Warner Bros would, you know, back down. Maybe Walter Hamada and Toby Emmerich and all these people that shouldn't be affiliated with Warner Bros and DC Films that are kind of ruining it. That's my opinion, allegedly, is doing that. And Grace Randolph said something quite interesting. Now, I don't believe that I've reached out to some people, can't get any verification for it, is she tried to imply that Zack Snyder could potentially even be taking over Wonder Woman 3, which is interesting. Zack isn't, and then I'm looking on Twitter, Zack isn't going to be doing Wonder Woman 3, that is Paddy's. Justice League 2 and 3 though, Zack Snyder, HBO Max. So it's interesting that like Grace, I actually think Grace is doing a lot of moments. She's doing a lot of, I mean, creditation to her. Go over to Grace's channel and tell her. She's doing lots of bits. I mean, she's got a big following, so she's doing a lot of bits for this Snyderverse. And if you want the Snyderverse to continue, people like Grace, etc., Brandon Davis from comic.com, them getting behind it is just going to solidify it, because obviously they have connections at studios and they're well respected in their own right. So yeah, guys, like I've been saying for years, if not months, well, definitely years, the Restore the Snyderverse, I might even put it in the title, the Snyderverse is definitely being restored. It's just a case of when. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be greenlit instantly, but Wonder Woman 2 didn't do very well, did it? No. And that got greenlit for another movie in under a week. So just imagine what could get greenlit if the Snyder Cut does well. Justice League Part 2 and 3, Batfleck series that I've been telling you about for months, Deathstroke's solo movie, Cyborg. Now, I know the Ray Fisher situation is a bit fishy. Not that I don't agree with it. I'm just not publicly going to state my opinion. I spoke about it before on the Light podcast, what I thought, but I didn't really say much, is the Cyborg story in the Justice League Snyder Cut is so pinnacle to the overall story that he will be loved after this movie. So it's just a case of, will Ray Fisher want to work with WB? Because at the end of the day, I know it's AT&T that owns it, and, you know, Warner Media is in charge of Warner Bros, and Jason Kaler can literally tell Warner Bros that it's happening can if he wants to, kind of thing. But it would be interesting. The potential is unreal. And the fact that the Flash movie coming out doesn't really mean much, because that is going to open up the multiverse. We already know it's not the original Flash movie with Nora Allen and Eve Barthorne. It's more of a Christ and Infinite Earth and Crisis storyline. So the Zack Snyderverse is it's here, and it's not going anywhere because the Snyder fans are too passionate, and AT&T are all about money, and if they listen to customers, they're going to make a lot of money. So guys, let me know. Do you think this reaffirms everything I've been saying for months on end? Like always, guys, check us out on Twitter, WarstuG, Instagram @Warstu, and I will catch you in another video very soon, guys. Catch y'all later.